Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I've learned from flipping watches. It's been a little over a month now, I would say, and I have just a few things I want to touch on, just things that I've learned in this short time. Maybe they'll be helpful to you if you're looking to get into this as a hobby, as a hustle, or you like to thrift and you like vintage and you like older things, and so you just want to be able to know what to look out for and what avenues to pursue. So let's go and let me show you what I got. All right, number one I think is pretty important, especially for the mindset. There are always more deals. So what I found a lot of the time is browsing on different Facebook Marketplace, browsing on different apps, which we'll get into. But sometimes you stumble upon something and you think, oh, it's this really rare watch, or it's this really good deal. But then you try to overextend yourself, right? So I ran into a couple times where I saw these watches and I made these offers and they all ended up accepting, and in my mind I was like, well, how could I pass this up? These are deals, these are steals. If you're gonna buy a watch, odds are you're gonna sit on it for a while, so you can't be making these emotional decisions like, oh, I gotta get this watch, it's a really good deal, and so now I'm gonna overextend, I'm gonna use more money, or I'm gonna spend more money than I have. That you just don't want to do that. So just always remember, there's always going to be good deals, and it's going to happen now, it happened before, and it's going to happen in the future, and you just have to remember that it's always going to be there. So if you miss one, don't beat yourself up for it, just be prepared for the next one. Following it up with number 2 is be prepared to take losses. Now again, with watches, there's only so much you can tell from the outside. The majority of places, at least that I've been to, are not going to just let you disassemble their watches to take a look inside and see truly what you're working with. The situation that I'm dealing with right now is, you buy a couple watches, and these watches were really nice. I was actually working on a video, bought these watches, they were beautiful, they looked really good inside and out. Everything looked great, the coils, the crown, everything, nothing perfect, but you put a battery in it and it doesn't work. So then what do you do? Well, right now I dropped them off at a watchmaker. It's been about almost 2 weeks. But the point is you might buy a watch, everything looks good, everything looks great, but then it doesn't run. So then what do you do? Maybe you have to take it to a watchmaker and invest a little more money. Then maybe it's kaput, and maybe you spent $10-15 on it, you can't really sell it, or maybe it's not a watch that you want to invest that extra money going to a watchmaker and getting that done on. It's all a matter of perspective too. Like, there's watches where I spent $10 on and they don't work, but I don't think of that as a loss. I just think of it as $10 for a watch I can take apart, learn the different pieces, the different parts, learn the different ways, because every movement's different, right? Different ways you can move the crown, pull the crown out, different ways of putting the battery in, removing the coil, etc. And then a lot further down the road, you just hold that watch for parts. You can use that for other watches maybe you want to sell and it's compatible, or you sell the watch for the parts, so you kind of recoup a little bit of your loss there. It's all a matter of perspective, but if you buy a bunk watch, don't let that bring you down. It's all part of the learning experience. Like we say, it's tuition, right? You're just paying tuition to learn the game. So now this one for me is really hard because I'm someone who loves watches. The whole reason why I'm doing this in the first place is because I love them. So number 3 is you have to take the emotion out of the buying and selling. What's the goal of any business, right? Is to make money. What I ran into especially at the beginning, and maybe still a little bit now, is I see a watch and I'm in love with it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool, it's got this little feature, or it's that little thing. But then I bought it because I'm here trying to make money from it. So how do I make money if I buy a watch and I don't sell it? You see, things don't make sense. And you can't buy a watch just because you love it or because you love the brand, because then you start, like with that ugly watch, the Seiko, that was blown to smithereens in my last video. I only bought that because it said Seiko. Didn't look at anything. Obviously the case was in horrible condition, and the bracelet was aftermarket. Luckily, the dial and the movement were in good shape, but I'm not always going to be lucky like that. So you can't be emotional when you're buying things just because it's a certain brand or a certain style or type that you like. And then on the other side, for selling, you can't be emotional because you really don't want to let that watch go because you like it, or you really don't want to let it go because it's not the price you hoped for. If you lost money on it, maybe you learned a lesson. Don't overpay next time. Maybe that's not a brand that you should pay the price that you paid for it, right? And you're only going to make that mistake maybe a few times, hopefully, at least at the start. You can't get emotional when it comes to these things, and you just have to remember what your goal is and the logical idea and the logical move to move you towards that goal. Now, number 4 is just what apps I would recommend. And OfferUp, terrible. I would not recommend using it. I did make 1 or 2 purchases, and they were great. The people were normal. It's just not great. Maybe I'll roll some footage of me just rolling through it. I think I deleted it. Like, using the app is fine. The actual, like, taking pictures and everything and making the listing is fine. But at least with watches, it's littered with people selling fake Rolex, Cartier, etc., Moissanite, Bowl, fake Rolexes, trying to pass them off as real. So fake passing it off as fake, but then fake passing it off as real. I had one person to send me this invoice. It was a Datejust 41mm. It was like, oh yeah, I have the original invoice. And he sends me the original invoice, and it's for a completely different watch, completely different reference number, what he's pictured. And it's like, if I was just a dummy that didn't know what I was looking at or didn't know how to check it, I probably would have done it, right? It's littered with, like, just useless garbage. And so from the buyer's perspective, you're sorting through a bunch of baloney that's fake, and it's hard for you to even discern what's real. And from the seller's point of view, you're in there littered with all the fake stuff. So it's like, how do you stand out? How do you make yourself real? And this goes for everything. It's like constant bots. But then another thing they do, which annoyed me, is they'll do notifications and send you push notifications, and they'll have the little red notification bubble on your inbox as if someone sent you a message. So you're like, oh, someone checked something out. Then you look and it's an ad, but it's in your inbox like someone messaged you, right? So it's a little like deceiving. But then also, yeah, they do. I completely forgot, but they run ads in the app. So you're scrolling through and there'll just be a giant ad roll through. Or you'll be scrolling through and then it'll come out of the corner and it'll start playing a video. Like, what the? And then they want you to pay. I think there's premium and all this balloon. It's just terrible. Terrible experience. Okay. And if I'm wrong, let me know. If you had a great experience, good for you. Keep using it. But for me, I used it for a week or so, and then I was like, I'm not dealing with this. So yeah, that's my OfferUp rant. The only other app I've used is Facebook Marketplace. The majority of my cool watches I've gotten from Marketplace. So from the buyer's perspective, yeah, Marketplace is great. If your goal is to flip or resell, you're gonna have a harder time finding the good deals on Marketplace. But if you're someone who's looking for a watch for themselves, it's really good. From the buyer's perspective, I would say it's really nice. And then of course, with it being tied into Facebook, you can obviously like research the profile better. You know, is it an actual person? Is it a scam? Are you getting robbed, etc. From the seller's point of view, it's again hit or miss. Like there's been times where I was doing really good messaging people constantly, and then there's been times where you don't get a lot of stuff. That's just with everything. But then just the bots, I don't know, is it bots or is it just people like just asking if things are available and disappearing, right? So it's like, how do you know? Like you'll have something listed for $300 and someone's like, can you do 80? And you're like, no. I mean, lowballing and just like asking for a fair price is a little different. With it being text messaging, you got to kind of add your own personality to it and not just sound like a robot. From the seller's perspective, I think it's been good so far. I've had, you get spam obviously, and dealing with people is always rough. Like you'll try to be talking to someone and they'll just disappear, or you'll make plans and they won't show up, but that's going to be with anything. So if you're trying to do quickly on apps and things like that, I wouldn't try to go too crazy on it. If you're trying to like, if it's like a little side thing, yeah, go for the apps. What I'm going to get into on the next point, I think, is where you really start to scale up. And now the last thing, point number 5. If you're in the Midwest, right? You're not in the Diamond District, you're not in Miami, you're not in California, right? You're not in these big luxury hotspots of the world. The next step in what I'm working towards right now is like flea market and thrift store booths and things like that. I think that's really where you're going to need to make the majority of your sales, as well as networking and things like that. Like I could make 50 posts on Facebook Marketplace, but it's such a small audience that you're reaching, right? If you really want to be able to get up into, making more money and just getting more eyes on your product and just on yourself, right? Then you really need to get to these shows that are going to have a large consumer base that's already there, right? It's at these flea markets and thrift stores, people already come from all over, and it takes out the work of taking all the pictures and making all the listings, because that can be tiresome in itself, right? I've definitely done that. Getting out, showing your face, shaking hands, networking just with other vendors, because business to business is also a huge part of business, right? Like if I have a bunch of watches that maybe I can't get working, but I got them for $2 a piece, I can sell them for $5 to someone who can get them working, and then they can then sell them for 15, 20 once they're working, right? So everyone makes money and everyone works together. That's the other thing, is like dealing in this industry, and like I guess most industries really, people are weary of like competition and things like that. Personally, for me, collaboration is key, right? I would always rather work with someone or partner with someone, because I think more can be accomplished in the grand scheme of things like that, than trying to, stick to myself and try to do my own thing. Business people know what I'm talking about, kinda. Anyway, yeah, branching out into those types of areas I think is key, especially in places like this. And then obviously past that, once you do maybe start dealing in more high-end luxury pieces like your Rolex, Omegas, Cartiers, etc., if you're able to find and source a lot of those, then you can maybe move away from the shows. But even then, why wouldn't you, right? But then you could go from shows to like private selling, to either you can sell to jewelry stores that maybe have clients, or maybe you have your own set of clients. So just things like that. Again, disclaimer, I've been doing this for like a month and a half. So if there's something you've heard or that I'm saying and I'm completely wrong, hey, my bad, you know? let me know, because we're still learning here. But yeah, that's the 5 things. I guess on the end here, I just kind of want to give you a little sneak peek on what I'm working on and just kind of, I guess, some of the cool pieces of my inventory I have here. So I don't want to make this too long here, but Studio Underdog Watermelon, super cool brand. If you don't know about it, definitely do some research. It's a micro brand out of Great Britain, and they do some really cool dials and designs. I love these mechanical Timexes, Timexi. I just love this like old-fashioned cushion case, and then like the dials on these are super cool. This is another Timex. Look at that, like cathedral red. Like they also made a blue version, which I want to pick up. Just another automatic, I think automatic, at least mechanical, and with a cool bracelet. Never seen a bracelet like that yet. And then let's see. Oh, this swatch, just a cool all white swatch. Funny enough, this is the watch I get the most spam messages about, or at least under that listing. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up. 5 things. I think they're pretty simple. I think everyone can has something they can learn. Got to show a little bit of the inventory, which was cool. Completely forgot to mention in the apps, shop Goodwill, or Goodwill shop, or whatever it is, that little auction house. So I recently won an auction for 17 pounds of watches, and that was like 2 days ago, and they have not shipped it yet. But once they have shipped it, and once we get it, we'll be doing a whole sort through, check it out, what's good, any bangers in there. I don't even want to say anything, but just fingers crossed we find something cool. I did pay quite a lot for it, especially plus shipping. Didn't really think about that, the cost it takes to ship a 17-pound bag. So yeah, remember shipping. But yeah, along with that, I also got a set of a few other watches that we'll go through once they get here. I think those have shipped, but those are on the way. So I have that, and then once I get the flea market stuff ball rolling, we'll have videos of the flea markets. That'll be super cool. So yeah, just stay tuned, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. And we'll see you next time. Got the G-Shock on. Remember, the G-Shock is for when I'm casual, but I want you to know I mean business. So keep up the great work. We'll see you next time.